Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. I didn't have a choice, being this is my Friday, and when I saw a headline like I had in the list, I'm not mature enough to resist that. So that would explain the title and the thumbnail, because I mean, after all, if the UN says cocaine production is at a record level, then I don't know. Maybe they need to hire more people, maybe more facilities. You know, sometimes when you need to increase your production, you have to actually put money back into the infrastructure of your business. And maybe the UN just needs more cocaine producers. Maybe that would help. Just trying to think of useful things, trying to help out the UN. Oh man, it's crazy. So anywho, got a lot of stuff in the news today. Quite a few tabs open. Some of them I'm only going to spend like a moment on. There's one in particular, a bank one, that I'm going to spend just a moment on because, again, I am not going to let them spin me up. I'm not going to sit there and drone on and on over this banking thing when it's clearly, as I said, it's just going to be one of those things to where, in a sense, they kick the can down the road. Now, do I think some major things are coming that involve our currency and the way we do business? Absolutely, I do. But I don't think that this is necessarily that. I think we got a little ways to go yet before they're ready again. This will end, as far as our currency, this financial system, it will end when they say it will end. Not any time before, not any time after, because it's just a game. They need more money, they print more money. They never not need more money, so we don't know what they would do in that case. I doubt they'd give it to us, but whenever they need more, they just print more, and then they just kind of add it to our tab, right? So nice of them. But as far as a bank collapse, as far as being concerned, and oh my goodness, nah, the takedown is going to be far more spectacular than that. I'm sure. But if I don't knock stuff off the desk here, case in point, and this is exactly what I'm saying. Credit Suisse was handed a lifeline to avert the collapse. So it's just a matter of who you are. If you're an important player in their minds, then they will most certainly bail you out. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know quite so much about any of the rest of us, or I don't know. We bank with the credit union. It doesn't mean that a credit union is absolutely, insulated against anything, because they're not. But they typically run with a little better morals and a little more within their means than what, these big banks do. They just, it's insane. The whole financial monetary system is just absolutely insane. And it's just a bunch of people borrowing money on money and doing it all over again. There is nothing remotely that we have to back up the money that we have in circulation. I don't know. Here's the thing. If China really wanted to do us in overnight, all they have to do, and it's in the news, all they have to do is dump the American debt. And that is absolutely in the news. But if they were like to dump it all at one time, that would screw us. I mean, that would put a serious screw to us. But again, it's just numbers, right? So as far as the United States was concerned, it would probably just be another day for us. And I know that might sound a little crazy, but they're in control regardless. And even if there are outside influences that change the situation, like, say, for instance, the dollar losing its reserve currency, as far as the United States and Americans are concerned, and places we do business here, it's still going to run however it is the Fed tells it to run, because they're the ones that make up the rules of the game. So just because our U.S. dollar becomes insolvent, so to speak, across the world, if it would go that far, I don't think it would go that far, but if it would go that far, doesn't mean that we would automatically be sunk. Now, they do plan, I believe, fully plan on sinking us. But again, I think it's going to be far more spectacular than starting out with some banks collapsing. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to sit there and doom porn on that, because there shouldn't be doom porn on it, really. Boogeyman of the Week. And I am debating tomorrow continuing with the second episode of Effed Up Friday. That may become a thing. I don't know. I may just come up with some screwed up conspiracy theory to mock on Fridays and call it Effed Up Friday or whatever. Might be fun. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll see if I can come up with something tomorrow. Aside from that, really don't know what else. I've got, like I say, 8 tabs open. Fair amount of headlines today in the news. Couple of the headlines are, I don't know, I feel pretty serious, but I'm going to be metered because, again, this media is doing this. And, you know, RT is just largely, when it comes, pardon me, when it comes to U.S. news, it's largely following what stories that a lot of the U.S. news is covering. When it comes to the pertinent news, they don't, when it comes to the more pertinent stuff, they're not covering the latest exact dimensions of J-Lo's ass. They're not into that. So, and I appreciate that. But they still kind of keep along the same lines as U.S. news outlet. But, anyway, let me go ahead and hop into that, and I'll roll through these, and like I say, it's my Friday. I'm definitely anxious to just relax and have a couple of days, do some flying, and who knows what else. So, tea or coffee. All right, so we're going to start off with this one about the cocaine production. I think maybe I misunderstood. Maybe the United Nations aren't the ones making it. Maybe I misunderstood. Let's read and see, because, yeah, I would hate to make the UN look bad or anything. So, production of cocoa. Now, I mean, come on, cocoa? We all like cocoa. What the hell? The base ingredient of cocaine. What? So, I've got like this thing of Hershey's in there. Could I really? Could I? I'm kidding. Don't try that at home. It'd probably burn really bad and not do you any good. So, do not try that at home. Anyway, let's get back to the story. The base ingredient of cocaine has risen by 35% compared to pre-pandemic levels as drug cartels take advantage of receding COVID-19 restrictions to smuggle record amounts of the narcotic across the world, according to a report from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, otherwise known as UNODC. The spike in cocaine production is the sharpest rise since 2016 and comes amid efforts by powerful South American drug cartels to streamline the efficiency of drug labs. Okay, so it's the cartels that are making it, and the UN should help them get it in. Okay, got it, check. The pandemic was a bit of a blip for the expansion of cocaine production, noted UNODC researcher Antoine Vella in comments published by The Guardian. By the way, they said that was some primo stuff. He added that it has since rebounded to levels higher than before COVID-19. Demand dropped in recent years due to the closure of many bars and nightclubs during lockdowns, the report explains. Because you know, man. Like, all the big deals go down in the local pub, man. The findings suggest the cartels were forced to devise alternative methods to distribute the drug during the pandemic after many international flights were grounded and road traffic was heavily policed, forcing them to stockpile the drug. Well, then they should be having a blue light special. Various drug seizures showed that traffickers had attempted to disguise cocaine in the distribution of everyday items. That's why I was so tripped up. Nobody would ever try to hide contraband inside of an object and try to smuggle it across the border. I mean, no. Anyway, avocados they tried. They had a little bit of a bitter taste to them, and then all of a sudden everything just went numb. Surgical face masks. That was a good time. Boy, bring those COVID days back. One case, officials said, even saw traffickers break the substance down into fabrics to bypass authorities before being reconstituted at its eventual destination. What an idea. Really? I can snort my shirt? That is awesome, man. Way better than scratch and sniff. Anyway. Sorry. It's my Friday. I did say that, right? I did? Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, I've got the dog even moving away from me. I think she's concerned. Oh, man. That is, that's messed up. Or should I say that's methed up. Anyway, this came out a little bit before, the show started. I thought it was something to be concerned with, but as I've said, you might want to be careful about what you let freak you out, because there's a lot of fear-mongering going on in our news. So I'm not saying this is not a big deal. I'm saying that if you're concerned with it, look into it. Look at the actual facts. Look at the actual data, and look at it for yourself, because there are so many people getting out there and doom porning the hell out of every single news headline they can find that sounds scary. I mean, there's one channel now that I'm pretty sure that's about all they talk about is the Ohio thing. And it's like, I don't know. My guess is probably had really good numbers on 2-3 of the videos she did with that. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Everyone's got to be somehow related. It's ridiculous, That should not, popularity in any way, should not be what drives news. That's, absolutely not a priority in bringing information to people. I don't know. So, just got to be mindful of it. Anyway, it sounds like a serious headline. It could be a serious headline. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying I don't know because I'm not a nuclear physicist. And unlike a lot of folks, I won't try to play one on YouTube. Authorities in the northern U.S. state of Minnesota revealed on Thursday that a nuclear power plant near Minneapolis had suffered a radioactive water spill amounting to over 1.5 million liters. Xcel Energy, which owns a Monticello nuclear generating plant, is working to clean up the spill and insists there is no danger to the general public. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency said that about 400,000 gallons of I don't know if that's tritiated or tritiated. I'm not quite sure how they'd pronounce that, but water leaked from a broken pipe at the facility. The leak was first reported on November 22nd, and its source was found on December 19th and patched soon after. Xcel Energy and the state are actively managing the situation to prevent the underground plume of irradiated water from spreading to the nearby Mississippi River. Oh, that makes me feel just grand. MPCA Assistant Commissioner Kirk Kudelka told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. And here we go with the statement. This does not present a public health or drinking water issue, said Christopher Clark, Xcel's president for Minnesota. He admitted the tritiated or whatever the hell water is well above the 20,000 picocuries standard mandated by the Environmental Protection Agency, being in the millions directly below the plant. The city of Monticello issued a statement saying its drinking water supply was not affected by the leak, which happened outside the area from which they draw groundwater for municipal wells. The contaminated water has not been detected beyond the plant's perimeter, Xcel told KMSP-TV. An estimated 25% of the water has been recovered and pumped into a treatment system on site. The company is considering building storage tanks or a retention pond for the project, which could take a year or more. That is concerning. Hold up. Let's talk. So, they're considering taking a year or more. Well, what does that tell you about the substances that they want to store in the retention pond and or storage tanks? Tells me that they're going to be an issue for a while. Now, if that's the case, I can only assume from that little bit of information that it could be a problematic situation. And it sounds to me like there's a possibility that some of it might have got downstream. Like, maybe. Right here. Right here, check this out. It says the Monticello facility had a leak of about 2,000 gallons in 1981, with some of the water reaching the river, but state health officials said it posed no danger to wildlife or public health, which is a reoccurring thing we keep hearing over and over. So, if you're concerned about it, dig. Because we're talking in 1981, 2,000 gallons, which they think to mention. However, right now we're talking about 400,000 gallons. Pardon me. And, I'm no mathematician, but I think those numbers got a little distance in between them. So, think about that when you think about this. If you live near it or in the path of this water or whatever, I would definitely take some time out to look into it. So, I'm not, there's a lot of people that will sit there and run on about this kind of stuff, and I will not do it. I won't sit there and run on at the mouth and just say, oh, just use your water filters and blah, blah, blah. But no. Doing that kind of stuff is stupid, and it's dangerous, it's irresponsible. If you could be affected by this, you need to look into this. You need to know what dangers there are or are not. Don't listen to anybody. Dig up every single word that you can. Understand what the different words are, what the different whatever it, understand the different scales. Like what they call these picocuries or something like that. 20,000 picocuries. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, and I have no damned idea what it is. I'm sure it's a unit of measurement, but again, this ain't my area. Crazy. Like I said, if you're in the path, be worth checking into. I gotta have a sip of tea or coffee. Why do I keep calling it tea? And coffee's gonna be pissed off, man. I mean, I might not drink with my pinky up, but it is 100% Colombian, so. Not the real good Colombian. This was the brown Colombian coffee. Not the white coffee or that really keeps you awake. Oh, that's not coffee? Oh. Switzerland tells Ukrainians to sell their cars, says the media. Now, I wanted to bring this up because this is something that I'm really not real cool with. And it happens here in the United States as well. I'm not speaking about Ukrainians, I'm talking about American citizens. If you need to get help, whatever the circumstances may be in this country, let's say you got injured at work. Let's say you were working your ass off or you got injured at work. And you want disability. Well, let's say not that you want, but you have no choice, right? They will ask you if you have anything of value. They will tell you to get rid of it. That is one of the first things they'll tell you to do. If you've got anything of value, you need to get rid of it. That's what they'll tell you. I know someone personally that was involved in a divorce. Didn't get a whole lot out of the divorce. And she went to go get help with a Catholic charity. And they had, they did pretty well financially. And so, she got some vehicles and a house, and she still had issues making it because talking about a big income difference. And that's the first thing that they told her to do, is that she needed to sell her house, she needed to sell the cars. Anything she had of value, she needed to just sell it. And it's like, most of it, she had no problem with selling. That's what she intended to do. But there was, a couple things she wanted to hang on to. One of the cars she wanted to hang on to. I can't remember. It's just one of the cars, and then there was some other stuff too. I know she wanted to hang on to. They didn't want her anything that had any value at all. They wanted her to get rid of it, and she probably would have if I didn't step in. I was like, bullshit. No. You know, out of all, and I can't remember how long they were married. It was a substantial amount of time. I think it was over 20 years. I just couldn't believe that they were telling her she absolutely needed to get rid of everything. You know, that was all she had out of all that time, out of all that. That was all she had. And she just needed a little bit of help. It's not like she was going to be somebody that needed help all the time or for the rest of her life or any. Just a little bit of help. And they wanted her to not give away, but sell anything of value that she had left out of a lifetime, which was very, very few things beyond her personal possessions. Just insane. It's just insane, and I don't think it's right. I know that views will differ on this kind of stuff, but I'm one of those people that I don't just puff my chest out and say, "Well, I will put myself in those shoes mentally and think about that situation from that viewpoint before I open my trap and spew out some kind of opinion that shows me how inhumane I am." You know, these are situations, too, where I'm sure that these individuals are giving up a whole lot when they leave Ukraine. These are just individuals, like many of them, I'm sure, like you and I. And I think it's a damn shame that they're not allowed to keep what little bit they're able to hang on to. Not only that, you're talking vehicles. Something they're going to need to be able to get around and do what they need to do. I mean, if they're going to remain in the country, by all rights, they need to probably try to find some kind of work to do or something like that, right? Going to need a way there. I think what this is just the push more towards these 15-minute cities and their ideals about all the nonsense that they want to incorporate. My opinion, I just think that, why would they need a car? Why would they need a car? Because, they'll be able to walk to anywhere they need to go. I'm not saying that's what it is. I don't know. I didn't look into it. But I don't doubt it. That's for damn sure. It's insane. Oh. See, the electric heater's on. I turned the one back there off earlier. Kicking it back on. Now, it's been giving me issues once in a while firing up, so we'll see if it fires right up or if it has to try it a second time. So I'll know, because if it doesn't fire up, usually it starts pouring smoke out. I can see it on one of the cameras. But it's okay. Nothing's going to blow up. It needs cleaned. It's did a really good job this winter. It really has, and it's ran on the lower end of its capability, which could cause problems. It could cause it to gunk up, to carbon up, and I think that's what it's done. I think there's a little bit of steel. It's like a roll of steel mesh, steel screen, down where the glow plug is. And there's an air hole there, and it has to pull air into that hole in order to do the ignition, the initial ignition of the heater. And, diesel fuel and carbon and crap and gunk can get on that steel mesh, that screen, which would inhibit airflow from that little bitty hole to get in there to ignite it. So I know you guys wanted to really, really know that. But yeah, that's all it is. That's the only reason it's giving problems starting up. It just needs its annual cleaning, because you're supposed to clean them. When you use them, you're done for the season. You're supposed to give them a good cleaning. So anywho, I hear the pump ticking. I'm waiting to see if I hear a little rumble. Nope. Nope, I'm seeing the smoke. Nope, it's going to fail to start and it'll try it again. Anyway, Japan's decision. China warns Japan against dangerous militarization. And I just kind of threw the headline, didn't put them really in any order because it's just going to be all over the place. So I will put that there, though, because it's China. I'm not seeing more smoke. Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. I didn't do it. Oh, they already have EV chargers. You say a little town. What's your population? Because like a little town, hell, I don't know how a little town could be really. Well, yeah, I guess it could be. Much of this town could probably be considered a 15-minute city, really. And you know what? I don't know if they did it, but I thought at one time they had talked about putting an EV charger up at the square, or a couple of them. I thought maybe they had actually done it. I don't know. I hadn't been up there, but I don't know. I thought I heard something about that. Hang on. Yeah, it didn't ignite. Let's see. It's not a big town? Oh, wow. Yeah, I think ours has kind of jumped up quite a bit, the population. Hang on here. We're gonna look in town. We're gonna see. Oh, yeah. It's clearing itself out. It went into its fail to start mode, and so it's clearing itself out, and then it will continue to start. Anyway, hang on. Let me see where. There's the town square. Actually, I want that layer, and I want this little dude right here, and I want to go to this corner right about there. Schmack. And let's look around and see if they've got an EV charger up here. Because I thought I heard they were going to put EV chargers up on the square. I don't know if they ever did. There's an electrical box there that I don't believe used to be there. In fact, I know it didn't used to be there. Is that possibly one? Maybe, possibly. I bet that's an EV charger. And then that means probably this here was an EV charger as well. Maybe. I don't know. They wouldn't have EV chargers way up there, but there's another one of those boxes there. Okay, so that's probably not. No, because they've got them up in there too. But I thought they said something about putting them. I thought. Let me check the other side of the street here. I doubt they'd be over on this side. I don't know how long. I mean, these pictures I don't think are super old because they were building that thing right there, which is, it's an open business now. But, I don't know. My little town. This is the town square. Yay. We got a Butamist fountain. And, we're all grown and all of that now, so there's no problems with, I don't know, things like soap suds in the fountain before the big town event and stuff like that. We're all grown now. So no need to worry about that kind of nonsense going on. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. When they were talking about it here, I thought they were just talking about putting them up on the square there. I thought they were going to put a couple of stations or something. So I don't know. Maybe those plans changed, or who knows? I don't know. But anyway, that thing's kicking now. It should be about ready to turn down to its normal speed. But it does that now that it's gotten gunked up a little bit. It'll fail to start one time, and then it'll fire up the second try. Yeah, I don't know. If we do have them in town, I don't know how often they would get used. Probably often here, to be honest. Because, Okay, that's weird. Had a notification about a post in our little town group on Askbook, and there's a post from a few days ago. Weird. Anyway, China warns Japan against dangerous militarization. Japan's decision to once again embrace the path of militarization is very dangerous and warrants the attention man, I can't speak, of the international community, China's defense ministry spokesman warned on Thursday. Senior Colonel Tan Kafi was asked by reporters to comment on recent remarks by Tokyo's defense ministry, which sounded the alarm over Beijing's decision to increase its military budget. Tan dismissed all such concerns, insisting that China is committed to a path of peaceful development and stressing that its limited defense expenditure is entirely for safeguarding national sovereignty, security, and development interests, along with regional and global stability. He stressed that China's defense spending is open and transparent within a reasonable and appropriate level. However, the spokesman noted that Japan has been playing up the so-called external threat in recent years while boosting its defense budget and working to obtain advanced offensive weapons, thereby fueling regional tensions. We urge the Japanese side to earnestly learn from the lessons of history and be cautious in words and deeds in matters of military security, Tan stressed, adding that Tokyo should stop doing things that undermine regional peace and stability. Earlier this month, China announced it would boost its defense spending by 7.2%, bringing the total budget to about $225 billion. However, last December, Japan said that its military budget would swell by 20% to a record $55 billion. In February, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida also announced that Tokyo intends to buy 400 Tomahawk missiles from the U.S., citing security concerns over China and North Korea. Japan, which officially renounced war and embraced pacifism after its defeat in World War II, plans to spend as much as $320 billion in total on defense over 5 years. Now, if you think about this, 400 Tomahawk missiles, and I know that sounds like a crap load, right? I mean, we could have a lot of fun. Think of how 4th of July would be if we had 400 Tomahawks. But the thing of it is, if you think about it, a lot of the times when Russia has gone on an offensive against Ukraine, they've poked up 70, 80 missiles at a time. Well, you're only going to be able to do that, about 5 times? with 400 missiles. So, 400 missiles really isn't going to do a whole lot of good for you now, is it? That's a scary thought to me. That's a damn scary thought to me. But if you look at it, I mean, that's the case. Every time Russia's hit Ukraine, it's been 70, 80 something missiles. That's quite a few. So I just think of that, and it's like, does Japan think that they've got a chance with 400 missiles against China? Kind of better poke them in the eye quick. Anyway, China dumping American debt, says U.S. Treasury data. Not good. Again, they could hurt us. They could totally sink us in a sense. In a sense. When it comes to within the U.S. borders itself, well, the Fed can do whatever the hell they want. They're magicians, didn't you know? So I don't let it freak me out too much. Because, they do intend on it to fall, but it'll fall when they say it'll fall. So the answer never changes for us. We still need to be prepared. The best we can do is just keep an eye on what's going on and kind of try to get a feel for what it is that's going to get us in the rear end, and then try to address it appropriately. But all they got to do is pull out all their money, and that would definitely, as far as on the world stage, hurt us. Now, let me be clear about something. I may be saying that there wouldn't be issues as far as like whether or not the U.S. dollar would be good in the United States anymore or anything like that. I'm not. That's the part that I'm saying. But there is much more to that folks need to understand. That, like, okay, so let's just throw it out that our dollar lost reserve currency. Let's just throw it out. Let's say China dumped all their debt, and they no longer want to play in the sandbox with us. So we no longer have, access to all those imported goods. So what's going to happen then to the cost of items, even everyday items here in the United States? They're going to go through the roof. So will the Fed just keep printing and pumping? Or will that be their excuse for saying, you know what, maybe we need to do this digitally? So it happened when they say it happened. It's definitely not something we should be biting our nails over, unless you're heavily vested into stocks and all that stuff. If you're heavily vested in that stuff, then you probably got good reason to be chewing fingernails. But for those of us that don't, it's going to fall when they say it'll fall. They're going to put us in the same position no matter what. So we have to put ourselves in a position to where the position that they want to put us doesn't matter. All we can do. But apparently China's dumping debt, which I think they have been for a while. It's not anything new. I think Russia's been doing it too. We got a number one up there. Oh, it's an op-ed. Most of those I don't put out. Israel nearing civil war, says president. I thought this might be something to pay attention to. I was like, hang on. Coffee. Israeli President Isaac Herzog has warned the Jewish state stands on the brink of civil war over proposed judicial reforms by the newly elected government. Amid nationwide protests, he presented a set of alternate reforms which have been rejected by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Those who think that a real civil war with human lives is a border we won't cross have no idea, Herzog said in a video address on Wednesday. The abyss is within touching distance, he continued, adding that at any price and by any means, I won't let it happen. Israel has been rocked by continuous protests since Netanyahu announced his proposed reforms in January. These legal changes would allow Israel's parliament to override Supreme Court rulings with a simple majority vote, would grant the government more power in appointing judges, and would limit the ability of the court to review legislation it deems unreasonable. In other words, takes every single last bastion of hope for the people away. Basically is what they're saying. Parliament on Tuesday voted to advance a bill that would allow lawmakers to override rulings. The vote came after hundreds of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets of Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, and other Israeli cities over the weekend to oppose its passage. That would be like saying that our government could override a Supreme Court decision. And I don't know if there is anything at all in place for that to happen. Now, Steve would be one to ask about that. I don't know. I don't know if a Supreme Court decision can be overridden in any way, shape, or form. I didn't think so. I thought they had the final say in the discussion, period. You know. But, I don't know. But this sounds crazy. This is certainly crazy. Something to kind of, keep in the back of your head. Because, this just adds a whole another layer of things or another level of things to the situation over there. Because I kind of have a feeling that Netanyahu's really itching to pounce on Iran. And this could cause a shakeup with those plans. So we'll see. Russia, timing is everything, right? I'm sure that this news wasn't timed to come out and, for any reason or not, Russia unveils latest anti-drone system. A Russian state company, Russo Electronics, or Ruse Electronics, something like that, Russ Electronics, hell, I don't know how to pronounce it, has finished developing a system that can detect and suppress multiple drones from a distance, a press release claimed on Thursday. The creators boast that the complex can counter a drone swarm. The SERP VS-5, Russian for sickle, can reportedly cut off drones from their pilots within a 5-kilometer or 3.1-mile range. The system works over 5 frequencies, which allows it to target specialized and civilian drones. According to the developer, SERP VS-5 suppresses the connection from the UAV operator, scrambles navigation, and disorients the aircraft. The complex is said to work against American GPS, Russian-made GLONASS, and Chinese Beidou, the L1, L2, and L5 ranges, as well as Wi-Fi controlled drones. And I'm sure you all understood every single bit of that. There'll be a test. The anti-drone defense system was, we need an anti-drone defense league. Anyway, the anti-drone defense system was designed by the Rus Electronics Vector Research Institute because they couldn't come up with an even more cool name. Both the company and the institute are part of Rostec. They were even more lame with their name. Russia's leading state-owned tech industry conglomerate. The developer's deputy CEO, Andrei Sorokin, sounds like a Street Fighter episode or something. Anti-drone protection was becoming an integral part of any security system. Combat and reconnaissance drones are being used extensively amid Russia's military operation in Ukraine both on battlefields and for sabotage attacks by Kiev. Last week, Russian air defenses shot down an unmanned aircraft over Bryansk region. The Krasnodar and Adygea regions were also attacked by drones in late February. When those attempts were successfully repelled, the Russian Defense Ministry reported. So, I think you're going to see all kinds of new toys come out soon enough. Coffee. And I've made it to the last tab. Pink Starburst. I got Pink Starburst vape. I've got Pink Starburst Jello, in which I make Pink Starburst gummies. All right. Just want to let you in a little bit on my feminine side. Riots erupt after Macron raises retirement age. French President Emmanuel Macron bypassed Parliament and enacted a controversial pension reform package on Thursday, triggering riots and arson on the streets of Paris. The move, which raises France's retirement age to 64, had already caused months of strikes and protests. Macron invoked a special constitutional power to pass the bill immediately before a vote was set to take place. Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne announced the decision in the National Assembly as opposition lawmakers booed, jeered, and sang. Under the power invoked by Macron and Borne, the bill is considered passed unless a majority of lawmakers file a motion of no confidence against the government in the next 24 hours. Right-wing leader Marine Le Pen said that her National Rally Party would back such a motion, as did a number of leftist leaders. Macron has argued for months that France's pension system will go bankrupt unless citizens pump more money into the system, raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, which would still see French workers retire earlier than most of their European counterparts. Would be a just and responsible way to achieve this, he said in January. France's trade unions, who have protested the reform since last year, have argued that the system should instead be buoyed by increasing taxes on the wealthy. Thousands of protesters gathered in Paris as Macron's bill was passed. Near Parliament buildings, police fired tear gas at the demonstrators and faced off against the crowd in lines. Rioters set fires and blocked roads throughout the French capital as groups of masked protesters clashed with riot police. I mean, that's not, anything like happens here or nothing. Prior to the bill's passage, almost 500,000 people protested in cities across France on Wednesday, according to figures from the Interior Ministry. Police have already made 73 arrests in the capital, Le Figaro reported, citing a police source. So, craziness there. They don't have much of a problem in France getting out, though, and letting their voices be heard. I am shocked that we haven't actually had more of that in the United States. Now, mind you, I know about this whole summer of love thing. I know. But that wasn't organic. That wasn't natural. That was fed, well fed. This stuff, for the most part, this stuff is organic in France. Again, I don't know about the masked people that come in later on and start burning everything down. But much like the U.S., before that starts happening, you got decent people that are there just, and in the United States situation, just their First Amendment right. They're making their voices be heard. But But I know it's all screwed up to me. Because it's like, it doesn't matter anymore what the people want in any of these countries. They just do whatever the hell they want, piss all over the people, and make them pay for it. Pretty sure that's why they put all the laws in place saying we can't do this, this, or this, and this. Because it might make them feel scared. All right. Starting the headlines off with a bang, pun intended. Wagner Group takes out ads on Pornhub. Hey, it's the headline. Okay, maybe I didn't have to do that, but I did. U.S. Senator wants nuclear war, says Moscow. Did I get a huff on that? Oh, I got a huff on that, so y'all been redeemed. Just know that. Inflation in Finland hit 60-year high. Iran's oil exports reach 5-year high, says an official. Syria reveals its stance on new Russian territories. France delaying EU effort to supply shells to Ukraine, says Telegraph. Moscow spooked NATO from going all in for Ukraine, says John Bolton. Shut up, you 70s porn mustache dude. Let's see. U.S. estimates upwards of 100,000 Ukrainian soldiers killed, says Politico. I read that headline earlier and I was like, wow. That's just mind-blowing to me. That is just mind-blowing to me. And nobody apparently has a problem with just feeding that war machine some more human lives. It's just mind-blowing to me. Let's see. Discuss that. Kiev's plan for counteroffensive revealed in media report. Serious military developments are coming in Ukraine conflict, says the envoy. Cuba accepts Russian payment systems. Covered the video. Japan skirting Russian oil price cap, says media. Security service building on fire in Russian port city. I'm sure it's just coincidence. Switzerland tells Ukrainians to sell their car. Oh, I covered that. Kiev's high-speed hopes derailed by Nordic state. NASDAQ plans to delist Russian tech giants. Another U.S. train derails. TikTok says U.S. threatening to ban the app. Well, yeah, but even if the U.S. bans the app, you know that bitch in Michigan is still going to have it on her phone because she's done been immunityed on the rules. I can't. That Michelle or whatever, Gretchen, right? Gretchen Whitmer. Crazy. Anyway. Biden recalls gay epiphany. I'm sure you did, Joe. I'm sure you did. I mean, it's one thing for your nation just to look weak, but it's a totally different thing to have a government like this. This goes beyond weak. This goes into incompetent. It goes into a lot of things, but none of them good. None of them good. Let's see. Hopefully the other nations see that we're all like just sitting in the car with Grandpa while he decided to take a nap at 70 miles an hour down the interstate. Hold on. Put on your seatbelt. Pappy's taking us in. I used to always say the joke that I want to die like my grandpa in my sleep, not like the screaming people in his car. I don't know. Some people think it's funny. Some people don't. I don't know. Let's see. U.S. blackmailing neutral European states, says Moscow. Desperate West will turn to Russia for turnips, says Putin. So you've done... Desperate West. Oh, I covered that one. UK bans TikTok from government devices. German firm fined for violating Russia sanctions, says media. Farmers' protest party scores surprise Dutch election win. U.S. Air Force reveals status of downed drone. It's still down. It didn't do an amazing sea launch or nothing. China warns Japan against dangerous militarization. Oh, I covered that. And I covered that. And that. Australian premiers spar over nuclear sub-waste disposal. I wish that was true. You know, they use words like this, but did they really have swords? Were they really trying to poke each other's eyeballs out? Because, I mean, if you're going to say spar, I want to see it happen. Make it a pay-per-view event or something. Maybe you can get out a little bit of the government debt that way. Pay-per-view sparring between premiers. There you go. Make it a Netflix special. Russian oil and gas production to shrink, says energy minister. Russia unveils latest I covered that. Syria wants more Russian troops. Yeah, well, why not? They want more Russian troops so they have less American troops. That's what that's about. Le Pen calls on France's PM to resign. Let's see. Russia slams Denmark over Nord Stream fraud. Let's see. Tournament axed after Russian inclusion. Let's see. Yemen peace talks intensify after Iran-Saudi deal. EU state convicts 9 people for supporting Russia. Serbian president speaks on Russia sanctions after scandal. Let's see. West warns Ukraine not to blow last-ditch effort, says New York Times. And I told you about the power plant leak. That is it. So, if none of that is touching you in a naughty place right now, then I hope you have a good weekend. So, any of the news is touching you in the naughty place, then you should probably do something about it. But, just keep getting ready, folks. We have no idea what it is that's going to smack us in the head. We don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know exactly what is going to happen. But I think we all know it's coming. We just don't know when. So don't live freaked out or anything like that. Just keep continuing to get ready. No matter how quickly or slowly you can do it, just keep the chin up and keep at it. That's all we can do. I've been watching this stuff for a long time. Good majority of my life, I've been paying attention to what goes on in the world. And there's a lot of stuff that is on thin ice right now. A lot of stuff. So, and it's a global thing. It's not just here in the U.S. It's all over. So, who knows what the future holds? But you can do what you can to make sure that you can predict as much as possible of it as you can. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good weekend. God willing, I'll see you back on Sunday. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.